Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks so much for tuning into the 4554 podcast. I'm your host, Nick Eden, and we're back after 2 weeks with no power and no internet. If you all don't know, I actually live in a hurricane area, and my home was affected by Hurricane Zeta. And so we went without power for about a week, and another week for them to come out and fix the internet. So it's been interesting. But I do have to say, I'm absolutely amazed and humbled and thankful to the Merch community for everyone who reached out to me on Instagram and on Facebook and sent their well wishes and just asked if there was anything that they can do to help. It's amazing we have such a diverse community in terms of just lifestyles, thought, race, socioeconomic status, whatever the case may be. But to have that many people, just reach out to me, I really appreciate it. So I just want to thank you all again for that. And I also want to send out any well wishes and thoughts and prayers to anyone who has been affected by Hurricane Zeta, still being affected by it, and definitely condolences to anyone who lost their life, and condolences to their family. So I just want to go ahead and get that out of the way, and I wanted to make sure that I said that because it was really important and really appreciated. So today, if you are listening on the podcast, if you are watching the YouTube channel, you've probably seen the title and you're like, what is Nick talking about? Because I do not get political on this channel, and that will continue because this, what you think it is, it's not. I'm going to say this ahead of time so that we're clear and so that no one is surprised when it happens if you do it. Um, it's not my business who you voted for. That's not what this is about. It's also not anyone's business to chastise, harass, or anything else like that. Anyone in the comments on the YouTube portion of this video. So I don't care if you're pro-Trump, anti-Trump, pro-Biden, anti-Biden. If you bring any type of mess like that, you will automatically be blocked. And I hate to say it like that, and I may lose some subscribers behind it, but that's not what this channel is about. That's not what this show is about. Uh, you know, so let's just go ahead and put that out there now. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let me just go ahead and say this. If you've been living under a rock, you don't know. But if you've not been living under a rock, I'm recording this show on November 7th, 2020. And earlier today, Joe Biden was projected to be the 46th president of the United States. And immediately there are talks within some people within the print on demand community saying that political trends are now going to be dead without Trump being there. And it's just something that I absolutely disagree with. Now, from a number standpoint, let's just go ahead and talk about it. I don't care if you like him or not. President Trump has been great for those who participate in political trends over the last 4 years. Everything from the Trumpkin shirts that have been the number one selling Halloween shirt for like 3 years in a row, to things going all the way back to Kofefi, which before they put a trademark on it, I made quite a bit of money with it. And that was pre-merch. So you cannot deny the fact that President Trump has been good for the print-on-demand community in terms of selling shirts. Now, that being said, is he the only one? No. I got to tell you, I've made a substantial amount with pro-conservative, pro-liberal, swing voter, whatever you want to call it, that had, in some instances, nothing to do with Trump. Some connected in some way, but for the most part, I have very few, maybe less than 50 Trump shirts. And maybe I'm out of my mind. Maybe I'm completely out of my mind for not having more. But, got to be honest, a lot of other niches have been great for me, particularly because, and I've talked about this before, I do understand that I have a little bit of an advantage in that because I work professionally in a political space. And so I do kind of get more access to, I don't even want to call it access, but I'm exposed more often than not to a lot of the things that can be a slow simmer in terms of sales. So and just, for example, I can remember in 2018, there was an event that happened towards the end of 2018, and I actually put up shirts about it in May, and they didn't sell off the bat, but by mid-September, it was my number one selling shirts, and carried me throughout that entire Q4, one of my best Q4s on merch. So, and that was only loosely connected to the president. And so someone will then ask, well, Nick, how do I score a Trumpkin? How do I score a Kofefi? I wouldn't try to do that. You can work towards it, but there's so much more within the political space that you can do, that does not infringe on anything. It does not, cross any borders. It doesn't, cross any lines. And so that's what this show is about, to just tell you what are some of the things that you could do. Now, I would be remiss if I did not say that all the votes are not counted. They are still counting votes. And so there may be, small, big, whatever, there may be a chance that, in fact, the projection is wrong and Donald Trump is the president from 2020 to 2024. If that's the case, okay. So you can still take some of these things that we're going to talk about today and apply those in addition to doing nobody else do another Trumpkin shirt. Please don't. So let's start with a couple of things that are low competition. The first would be elections coming up in 2021. Okay. So I'll give you an example. In Mississippi, municipal elections are coming in 2021. So that's your mayor, your board of aldermen, your city council. All of those seats are going to come up in 2021. Now, does that mean all of those candidates are going to just sell shirts out of the water? No. They may sell 1, 2, 5, 10. But if you're the person in the 10 tier and you're trying to get out of those tiers, and you're trying to get your sales up, that 1, 2, 5, 10 shirts could be that way. So you want to look in your local area. Hey, who's running for mayor? Who's running for alderman? Who's running for city council? They're up for grabs, just like the president and the House and the Senate, because they are political figures. They are public figures. So I would go that route. I did very well with that during the midterms. Also, I think it may be a good idea to possibly reach out to those campaigns about designing merch for them. Hey, listen, I'll design your campaign shirts for you for free. I just would like to, have the exclusive right to put it on this platform or that platform, or manage it, or whatever the case may be, or I get a piece of it whenever they sell, whatever the case. You can do that. And I mean, it also builds a relationship with someone who could possibly be your future mayor. And there's nothing wrong with building a good business relationship in the process of all of this. So those are ways that you can do that, particularly with municipal, state house, state senate, those type of races. And you can make money doing that. The next way is ballot initiatives. So a lot of people are like, well, what do you mean by ballot initiatives? So for example, from 2018 to 2020, I've made money doing shirts about medical marijuana in Mississippi. In 2018 is when they first started gathering the signatures for the ballot initiative. So you had a lot of sound. And essentially, this is the beautiful part about it. Essentially, everybody that's out there gathering those signatures and they're bringing that awareness, they're almost working like brand ambassadors for you. And if you can get first to the market on the ballot initiative like that. So you had that, then you had the support for rallying in 2019. And then in 2020, I made money, for 2 years off of this one ballot initiative. Another thing that came up was the new state flag in Mississippi. I talk about Mississippi a lot because I live in Mississippi, but the new state flag that came up, a lot of people for it, a lot of people against it. There were opportunities on both sides to make money, and I did. And since it passed, I'm seeing even more of an uptick in those sales because we have a new official flag. So those are ways to do it. I know in Oregon there was a drug decriminalization ballot initiative that just recently passed, as well as a psilocybin therapy one. You can pull ideas for shirts around that. In Florida last year, there was I think I don't know if it passed, but they were gathering signatures for energy deregulation. I mean, these are all things that people are passionate about. And again, it's really easy to research. You can go to your Secretary of State and see what's on the ballot, what's coming up in the Secretary of State's website, what's coming up in the new year, what initiatives are on the ballot, what candidates are on the ballot, and you can find out because people are passionate about these things and there's interest building about it. And if you can niche down on it, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? So that's another way that's not connected to a president or vice president or a senator or the House, is going with ballot initiatives. The other way, and this is going to have a little bit more competition, is to concentrate on somewhat of a general niche that's just based around voting. Register to vote. Latino votes matter. Black votes matter, white votes matter, Asian votes matter. Just general things around voting and political awareness. And the opportunities in that are endless. You can go state by state. I would even say, and I'll give you this one, I didn't even do it. I don't even know if it's on Amazon right now. But I mean, good Lord, with as slow as some of these counts have been going for the ballots, and I should have done it. I'll be honest with you. I feel like I missed out on something. If I was living in a state, or not even just living in a state, I would just put all the states out that had already gotten to 99% and already been declared for whichever candidate. And Mississippi counts votes faster. Louisiana counts votes faster. Tennessee counts votes faster. These are the type of things that you can do that are not necessarily, and I know that is a little bit more centered around the president, don't get me wrong, but it's the ideas like that that can take you a little further. Who's running for governor in your state? What are some of their platforms? What are the things that they're talking about? Who's going to screw up Cal Cunningham? Who's going to, what would have happened if you could have been the person to do some shirts when Anthony Weiner did what he did? Who would not have loved to have been first to market for that? So there are ways to do it, and there are always things going on in politics. And even if it's not as widespread as someone like a Donald Trump or a Joe Biden or Barack Obama, it does not matter. You can still find a passionate niche that people are really diehard about. There are people who sit there and they watch CNN, MSNBC, Fox, OANN, C-SPAN. They watch it all day. The same way we all have been the last few days trying to figure out who's the president. You have some people that are like that time in and time out. You have general shirts about being conservatives, general shirts about being liberals. I would say this though. I have seen a crackdown, a really big crackdown, particularly on merch, when it comes to any shirt that could be interpreted as inciting violence. And so you should not want to do a shirt like that anyway. But I would definitely encourage you not to do shirts like that. One, there's just a moral component that you shouldn't be doing it anyway. But then in addition to that, it's just not, it's not worth it. It's not worth your account. So in all of this, make sure that whatever shirts you're doing, and I say shirts, but whatever products you're designing for, make sure that you do your proper research, make sure that you're not crossing any lines, make sure that you're in as much compliance as being able to do political based shirts are, and don't give up on doing them just because Donald Trump may and is likely not going to be the president going forward. You can still make a ton of money from it. You really can. So with that being said, this question actually came up in general conversation with somebody who wasn't even on Print on Demand. They just know that I did it. They said, well, what happens when a candidate is no longer, or an elected official is no longer elected official? Well, then they're a private citizen. And just like somebody can't say, here's my Nick Eden shirt, you can no longer say that for that candidate. So I would tell everyone, because I think if there's anyone who's business savvy enough to sue everyone who has his likeness on their products, I would think it would be Donald Trump. So I would definitely say, when inauguration hits, if he's not the president, you guys might want to go ahead and get those shirts down. If he can sue the states for, anyway, just as business advice, you probably want to go ahead and take those shirts down, or start preparing to take shirts like that down. And this will be the time to give yourself just a general audit of your account anyway. And right now I'm talking Merch by Amazon specific, because we also know that this is the time of year when there is really a lot of scrutiny that comes on, because they do these audits of these accounts. And the last thing that you want to do is be one of the people in the group saying, help, my account got terminated, whatever the case may be. And I'll say this much: Merch is not stupid. And I'm not saying this like I have a personal in with Merch. I'm not saying this like I have personal relationships with anybody at the company. But what I am saying is, they're not terminating you for a simple mistake. So if you've been treading the line and you've been violating terms of service, and you know this is probably the time to do it before they do a manual audit of your account. That just be my advice on it. So that's going to wrap that up for today, guys. I think that there's still a lot of opportunity within the political realm for the shirts. And I will also say this, even for as many people that may listen to this show or watch it on YouTube or listen to other content creators talk about it, the reality is, a lot of people just won't move on, period. So you have a real chance of going in and getting in some stuff, low competition, where a lot of people are just not touching it, either out of fear or just lack of motivation, whatever the case may be. So this is the time for you to get, kind of first to market and really corner in on things that, may be going on for the next 4 years. So, all I can say is, don't allow your personal feelings to stop you from making money. Now, if you feel like there's a true moral dilemma to do shirts in this realm, then don't do it. Okay, that's fine. But the opportunity is there. So again, that's it. Guys, don't forget, like and subscribe. If you're on, particularly on Apple Music, listening to this, I would absolutely love if you left me, or Apple Podcasts, a review. I really would like to get some feedback, and that goes for Google Podcasts and Spotify and everywhere else that this podcast is on. Also, don't forget to subscribe, youtube.com, Nick Eden, Instagram, 4554 Podcast, Facebook, the 4554 Podcast. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. And remember this: you can make as much money as you want to in print on demand, but you have to press the go button. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.